Welcome. I'm Gaynor from FitFish, and I'd love to talk to you today about motivation. So, three things that you should know about motivation. If you're here, do give me a hello, and I'd love to know if you feel motivated at the moment or not, whatever that means for you. So, type a yes or a no or a maybe. Okay, so three things that you need to know about motivation. Now, motivation is important, isn't it? Because it's what gives us that get up and go and that drive to move forward. It's the reason why we do something. And especially in this arena of being healthy, it's great to have motivation to carry us forward and keep us moving forward and keep us growing and keep progressing. So, I want to share these three things with you. And the first thing is that it's actually normal for motivation to disappear. So don't feel bad if you're feeling a bit like you're lacking in motivation at the moment, or even if you feel like you've never had much motivation for these kind of things. It's completely normal for it to go in a bit of a cycle. You have times when you're really, really, really motivated, but there'll be other times where you're just not feeling it and you're just not feeling that inspired to do anything and motivated to do anything, and that is completely normal. There are different cycles in life, and sometimes things just get in the way. There's more barriers, there's more obstacles, and it just feels like a bit more of an effort to do stuff. So don't worry, that's normal. Even Olympic athletes have times where they just don't feel motivated. But fortunately or unfortunately for them, there's lots of other things in place that make sure that they continue. So, kind of training routines and habits, and people giving them dietary advice and coaches, and of course, the end goal of participating in an event, which makes them have to go ahead and do it. So, what can you do when your motivation is a bit low and you're feeling a little bit rubbish? What can you do? What other things can you put in place that mean that your healthier habits and patterns will continue? Could it be that when you're in a good place, you can work on creating some really good habits and patterns so that when you're not quite as motivated, some of those just kick in anyway and take over? Or do you need the accountability? Do you need a coach? Do you need a personal trainer? Do you need a counsellor? Do you need a friend to pray with, a friend to talk to, a friend to meet up for a walk? What is it that you need? Or is it some kind of event that you need to enter, or some kind of challenge, so that even when you don't feel motivated? I remember when a few years ago, I entered a triathlon because I wanted to raise money for the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, because I'd lost a really good friend and I wanted to raise as much money as I could. So I entered a triathlon. And that was the complete only reason why I ended up using my evenings, using any spare minute I had to train. There was the fact that I was raising money for a good cause, and I was doing this triathlon is what kept me going. I wouldn't have done that normally. I wouldn't have gone out in the evenings and exercise. That's just not me. So what other things can you put into place so that when your motivation wanes, you keep on going? Okay, point number two is that there are different kinds of motivations. There are motivations inside us and then motivations outside of us. So things inside us so that we we really want to, because we want to feel better. We want to be healthier because we want to feel better. We want to be healthier because we know that's what God has called us to be. He wants us to be healthy and reach our potential. um, but then there's also things from the outside, such as wanting people to comment on how we look, or wanting to be able to fit into some clothes, or go to a party or an event or a wedding and feel good about yourself. And there's nothing wrong in themselves with any of those motivations. It's really good to have a balance and be aware of what your motivations are, and be honest with yourself about what's motivating you. And if it is purely extrinsic, it might be that that's why your motivation can flag or stumble, because if you aren't getting those extrinsic results maybe as quickly as you'd like, then you might give up. But if you've got some intrinsic long-term ones as well, you just feel better, you just want to do this, you just want to be able to reach your full potential, then that will keep you going for longer. And point number 3 is, if it's too much in your own strength, then it will get really tiring. So if your decisions around healthy living are kind of all in your own strength, you might be following a plan that's slightly too hard for you, or you might be trying to achieve too much, telling yourself all the things you can't do, and trying to achieve too much different stuff, then it will get really tiring. And your brain will just say, I'm not motivated to do this anymore. I can't keep pushing you through this. It's too hard. It's too challenging. And if you're tired, exhausted, or overwhelmed, then your motivation probably will be lower. And that's a sign that you're not quite sitting in the right place and that you need to rest, abide in God, sit with God, perhaps look at your motivations again, but get your energy back, get your strength back. We can't be operating when we're not, charged and full of God and close to God. We won't be our most motivated if we haven't got that grounding and haven't got that rest in Him. So if it all feels like a bit too much of a struggle, you can't get through all these things, and perhaps you're aiming for too much, too many new things, too many different things, stuff that's too hard, you're restricting yourself too much, and your brain just doesn't want to do that anymore. Your body probably doesn't want to do that anymore. So loosen up a little bit, rest a bit, spend some time with God, get your true motivations back, and move forward from there. So those are the 3 things. So it's normal for it to disappear. And what can you put in place other than motivation to keep you going in those times? There are different kinds of motivation, internal and external, and we need a combination of both of those. And if it just feels too much and you're getting too tired, overwhelmed and exhausted, then maybe it is, and maybe you need to stop, take stock, get some rest, abide in God for a bit, and then move on from there and reassess why you're doing things. So I hope that was helpful. I'd love to know, if you're watching live, something that stood out for you, something that you're going to act on, something that you're going to remember next time your motivation feels a little bit low. So give me a like, write me a comment, let me know you've watched, and I'd love to see you all soon. In the Healthy, Whole and Free course, which starts on the 23rd of September, motivation is a big area of what we talk about, and I'd love to share more of that with you. So look out for that course coming up, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye bye.